we go. I hope that this microphone is working, or else I'm going to be frustrated. So, this is an introduction to a script that I wrote. Basically, the script is somewhat hard to describe, but I would say it is about trying to use, it's kind of, I'm trying to mix standard modeling operations with more parametric modeling operations like you'd see in soft image or that other program that isn't soft image. Houdini, that's what I'm thinking of. I haven't really tried messing around with those programs, but I find that they are pretty I don't know, tedious would be the term, I guess. Just to set up kind of very simple models. So as you can see, so far I've set up this model to be kind of a frame, a box, and now here you're going to see me do this a lot. It's putting the linked X forms onto these polyselects. So what you can see is that there's a polyselect, you select the vertices, then you select linked X form, and attach that to, like that, attach that to the object. And it's a very tedious process. This, eventually I hope to speed up, maybe with another script of some type. But yeah, this is just got finished up, and you can see it's testing it, see how it works. Once you've done this, you have a pretty parametric object. So this is the grouping process, and the grouping process, it's very important that you do it in the order top left, top right, bottom left, and then whatever else. But always the first four corners need to be in that clockwise position, or clockwise rotation. Otherwise it'll flip up your model and mess it up. And so now I'm finally using the script that I've been trying to promote for this video. So you can see there's me picking it out. This script is slightly different. I added the refresh groups button there, so that you don't have to rerun the script every single time. If you downloaded it recently, that button might not be there. I'm going to try to upload the newest version of the script, which I guess would be 9.7 if it's updated. But yeah, so as you can see, I tested it out. It worked on the script, made the frame around that rectangle. And so now, that rectangle is kind of a boring thing. It doesn't really, well, it shows what the script does, the basic simplicity of the script. Really, the simplicity of it is it just aligns your group to the corners of a quad. That being the first, second, third, fourth member of the group go to the corners, and actually the fifth member gets aligned to the center of the quad. So now I'm trying to show a more complex example of what it is. It's the same rectangle, now putting a new quad in the middle. This quad is actually separate from the geometry. I find that if you can keep quads, and you'll see I use it in the future in a bit, if you keep quads separate, they tend to be better recognized by the script. The script, I should mention, it has a kind of cool picking thing where you just get to pick it off the screen whenever you feel like it. It does have some finicky parts about it, about the picking thing actually. If we look here, this is again resetting up those linked X forms. As you can see, like maybe half the video is me doing this. So yeah. But what was I saying? Yeah, the picking for this was definitely not written by me. That's something that's way out of my league as opposed to what I can write. And it was pretty much directly copy-pasted from the Wallworm scripts. And I should give proper credits where proper credits are due. However, I've forgotten right now who made that. I will post a what was that, addendum to what I'm saying to give proper credits over there. Anyway, but yeah, that the Wallworm script is amazing, and one of the weird things is that for some reason Max doesn't have an easy way of picking just faces off of viewports. You'd think it would be more exposed in Max script, but it's not. So yeah, it's actually like what half the script is. So anyway, more of the linked text forms. Unfortunately, if you use separate objects, you have to relink all of the X-forms over and over again for each object. But this is a good example. As you can see, there are 4 points and 2 meshes here. So the script jpAligner can work with multiple, well, more than 5 objects. I haven't actually tried it with less than 5 objects. I think it would crash. But just in general, don't do that. But you can have more than 5 objects, like what's going on right now. So basically, the main premise behind jpAligner is to set up relationships between the first 5 objects in your group. So these can be wired, they can be linked. Any relationships that can be saved within a group can go into jpAligner. And so that is it's pretty powerful when you think about the possibilities that it means. Here you can see jpAligner kind of being stacked within itself, which is kind of cool. So once the jpAligner objects are made, they can be then edited on using actually jpAligner. It's kind of exponential, recursive. It's kind of recursive is the right term. And I had the idea that you could link jpAligner groups within other jpAligner groups, but I've been having trouble doing that, so I can't say that that idea necessarily works, but that is definitely one of the main goals for the jpAligner script eventually. Here I'm making a more complex frame, and so as you can see, there's no real limit to the complexity of the frame or the number, not frame, complexity of the mesh or the number of meshes that you're using within jpAligner. I haven't tried to do any like super high poly stuff. It probably would slow the entire computer down a ton. Maybe I'll do some stress testing. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff that I still want to add into jpAligner. Like I said, once again, more of the X-form linking. This is probably the most tedious process with within jpAligner, is that you have to keep doing this over and over again. What else should I say about jpAligner? I am kind of spacing right now. I don't do this is my first script I've ever written and shared with the world, I suppose. So it's nerve-wracking. This is my first video where I've narrated anything ever. So feel free to ask questions or post comments, as long as they're not derogatory or mean, on my YouTube, or email them to me, or you can find me at ScriptSpot or CG Talk. I probably don't have anything much to say. I'm a very amateur scripter, but I don't know. This has been a long process for me. It took me probably about a month on and off to write this script. Yeah, my example goes for 15 minutes, which is probably more than I actually have to talk about jpAligner, but yeah, it's been an experience. It feels good to have actually finally produced something. Anyway, there you can see me testing the script that is going along. And it looks like it's working alright, and so I made a little scene showing how that could be used. So you can see this is a little art gallery, I guess. It was just hanging around in the corner. And so there you can see it's getting tested. So, one of the things I should mention about jpAligner is that, as you can see, the points are visible there. And now they're not. That is because when you click a line and do it just by itself, it moves the entire group, and you can actually continue to edit the group afterwards. However, if you hold Alt while you are clicking what you want to align, it will delete anything that is hidden within the group, and it will convert the original group to an editable poly. So it's very useful. So as I mentioned, one of the caveats of jpAligner is that it will only work on editable polys, and actually we'll see that in a second here. And so, yeah, and you can see it creates everything as a new group, so if you don't like what you've done, you can kind of easily select it and delete it. But, yeah, where was I going? Anyway, this is the example. As you can see, you have to convert it to editable poly, or else it simply will not work. And so this is a little more of a stress test, but it shows kind of the neat geometry that you can kind of quickly create just using this script. And there you can see it. There's a little mess up in the script. That's something I don't like, so I select the group and delete it, and it follows back to how it ought to be. It picks the points based on world space, not on world space, based on screen space. So sometimes if it doesn't necessarily recognize the points, you might just need to jerry-rig the camera to fix it, and it'll hopefully pick the right points, as you mean. Actually defining up, down, and left, right in 3D space, especially in 3D Max, is very complicated to do. So screen space, I think, was a very good solution. Before I had the solution to do it by UV or by world space, but they didn't work out too much. They crashed a whole lot. So I ended up in screen space, which is was also a lot of code. But it ends up working out pretty well. And so this is, as you can see, how we made the original interesting mesh, and we're just going through that and creating this kind of interesting geometric shape. And this shape's been created in, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? So yeah, it's just kind of cool. I don't know, it's something that's fun to play around with and fun to practice with, and you're not really necessarily limited to only right-angled objects. It can do really any quads. I didn't really show that in the video, but it does do a lot. Anyway, this is the end of the video.